Hello again, this is Randy Riley with another ImageTrend tutorial, and this time we'll go over how to enter NFIRS reports in Elite, and this will be part one. Part one will go over how to enter an EMS NFIRS report, and part two we'll get a little more in-depth and do a fire report. We showed you how to log in to Elite for the very first time. Please remember your username and password and save the link to Elite somewhere on your desktop so you can get it easily. To begin an NFIRS report, you go to Incidents, bring this down, and you have a lot of choices here. You can view existing calls. This is where you can look at your call lists. You can create a new EMS form or a new EMS form from CAD. That's what we will be using for the EMS reports. And then you can create a new fire form, and this will be from CAD as well. Our default NFIRS report form will be Springdale NFIRS, so go ahead and click that. You will then go to a CAD incident list, and we'll go and pick one. This time we'll do the Engine 1 and Medic 3 call. Click on that. And it'll take a few seconds for it to come up. This is typical from all the computers that I've seen. Elite takes just a little while to grab the CAD data and create the form. This is the typical NFIRS form, and the very first thing you'll see is a notification dealing with the number of people that are on each unit. Just acknowledge, click OK, nothing to worry about. And then you find the NFIRS form. To the left you have several tabs, and the exclamation points in red show items that need to be completed in order to be done with the report. Also down at the bottom you'll see a validation score. You'll start out with a negative validation score, and as you enter things your score will go up, and hopefully you'll have 100% when you're done. This is an EMS report, so we'll go ahead and enter 321 as the incident type, which is the same NFIRS code that we've typically used. Notice that the Hazmat tab turns blue instead of red because it's not required on an EMS call. Then you will choose your primary station. That's the station of the fire unit that responded. And the secondary station would be any other units that responded, or in this case it would be Medic 3, which is the medic unit for that call. Then we go to the primary action taken. Again, like we talked about last year, always fill in the most important thing that was done on the call, which is the level of care that was provided. A 32 would be a BLS call. A 33 would be an ALS call. A 31 would be that you just checked for injuries on possibly a no transport, that you didn't provide any care at all. We'll make this an ALS call. Any additional actions taken, you can type transported patient. Or you could type in incident command. And both of those will show up on the list. Under aid given or received, this defaults to none, since 99 and 9/10% of the time it is none. If you want to reset that, click on the minus sign to the side and click none. That will remove the blue box there, and then you can choose the other selections. In this case, it's still none, but I wanted to show you how to change that. On fire calls, if you have any deaths or injuries, please enter the numbers there. Resource used should be set to yes. Under suppression apparatus, you have 1 personnel. You will have 3 personnel, and EMS you will have 2 personnel. And other would be 0 on this call. And include aid received resources, we'll click to no because we didn't receive any aid on this particular call. Then we will continue scrolling down the form. We will choose our shift, the district that it was in, the number of alarms, the alarm type, and the mode of response. Notice the validation score will rise as you fill out each one of these items. So we finished the Details tab. Let's go to Location. We have our street address. We want to verify that the address is correct. You will need to enter a postal code. And we can set our county by selecting from the set from postal code. You can pick Washington or Benton County. And we're done with the Location tab. You don't have an exclamation point on your times, but we want you to go ahead each time you fill out one of these reports and verify that the times are correct on the call. If you need to make any changes to that, you can. Sometimes we get some odd times from our dispatch, our CAD data. Then we move to the Property tab. This is the typical property use, and we've discussed it numerous times. Please be as specific as you can on the property use. 419 would be a 1 or 2 family dwelling. There are some other examples that we can talk about later. Mixed property use, we don't typically fill those out. Hazardous materials, unless you had one, you can leave that blank. We'll talk about the value and property loss data when we get into doing a fire report. And this is where you would enter the person, the entity involved, or the owner just by clicking there and adding. But since this is an EMS report, we'll skip that for now. Under the summary, this is where you will type your narrative. And we'll go ahead and just type by typing it this way, you don't state an age. It's either elderly, adult, or pediatric, male or female, and we don't give a chief complaint or anything for HIPAA. We just say that the patient requested transport to whichever hospital, and we're done with the summary. We'll scroll down. If you need to add additional narratives like we do on fire reports, we can add those there. Under authorization, you will go ahead and choose the officer in charge, and if you are also the member making report, you can click this button and it will fill in the name there as well. One last thing to do is to check the Apparatus Tool, which is down on the right bottom corner, and this will bring up the units that responded to the call and the personnel, The times should be correct, but we need to verify and make sure they are before we save. Everything looks okay to me, so we click OK. We have a 100% validation score now, and I would ask everyone to do this when you're done. When you're done doing your report, you change the status to finalized, go to Menu, and lock your report. Click the X to get out of your menu. Notice that it's locked and you can close. Once you close, it will take you to the fire incident list, and after a few seconds your call should show up on the screen. And that was the call at 614 East Emma. In part 2 of this series, we will show you how to do a fire report. Thanks for watching.